Hello and welcome to Sustain Global. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Please consider subscribing and comment down below when you're done for a shout out during the next video. Now, as you see from the title, we're talking about the Real Daytime, the TV show led by the ladies Loni Garcelle, Bouvais, Adrienne Houghton, and Jeannie Mai. Now, originally, when the show started, it was actually led by the same Loni, Adrienne, and Jeannie, who have been around for the 8 seasons. Garcelle joined during the 7th season. So during the COVID-19 pandemic season, that's when Garcelle joined, and she actually joined the show when they were airing and shooting from their homes. So it's just recently, but when it started, there was Tamara Mowry and Tamara and so they were 5 originally, and changes and people no longer booking the contracts. The show has come 8 seasons, and they officially announced nearly 3 weeks ago that it was actually going to come to an end. And for me, whom I've actually followed the show since it was in season 3, I cannot imagine it coming to an end, because this is a show, it's actually a dynamic show, so I don't see why really they did not give us a whole explanation. But since it's a dynamic show, 8 seasons down the line, they have survived and they have actually been able to adapt into the changes that are happening in the industry, in the Hollywood community and entertainment industry. I feel like they still stood a chance. However, whatever has a beginning has an end, and it has come to the end of the show. So the ladies actually confirmed that this was going to be their last season. It's a bittersweet moment for me, because it's kind of bitter, because I enjoy their conversations. I enjoy the women of color representation, the diverse opinions that they allowed in the show, and diversification of age preferences, and the advice that they get to give. You get like a big sister advice, someone who is so many years ahead of you, telling you what will happen or what to expect in your own life in the next maybe 20 to 30 years, because those ladies are much older than me. So what I'm saying is that it's the bittersweet. Now, when it comes to women representation, women of color, and how America has been, they have really been trying to make progress when it comes to female representation and creating equality and giving more platforms to these women, especially the women. Representation on TV in the Hollywood industry. I feel like the show was the best one when it comes to that, right? Now, for somebody like Adrienne Houghton, she was actually the first Latino woman to be on a daytime reality TV show, like the Real Daytime show. So you can see how much she has done for her community, even when she was in Nickelodeon and the kids channel in her early days of childhood. She was the first Latino to book such contract. So she has really made so many milestones for her community and opening more opportunities for people like her, representing opinions of people like her. And I mean, we are all equal, but at the same time, since there are there's another community that is a majority, the majority may seem to overshadow the minority, right? So it's not like discriminative, but it's representative to actually have a women of color show such like that one. While Loni has always been vocal and clear about creating allies and not hating on the whites, she has been very vocal on the agenda and the main vision of the show, that they are accommodative. It's just that they lack the representation as women of color, so that's why they do the show. Now, 8 seasons down the line, the ladies have obviously grown so much, from Adrienne Houghton, who wasn't married and she is now married, going on 6 years. Loni Love has now been in a stable relationship with her boyfriend James for 3 going on 4 years. Tamara and Tamara actually cancelled their contracts a few years back, and then they had Amanda Seals on the show, who came on for I think only one season, which was season 6 or 5. I think it was season 6, right before the pandemic. And then they had now Garcelle Bouvais for the 2 last seasons. The ladies have really grown. For Jeannie Mai, she was married and then she got divorced. And that must have been really hard for her, going through divorce in a reality TV show. Not really reality, but like, yeah, a TV show where you talk about your life and people know what's going on in your life. A real-time show, so the events that are going on in your life are going on while you are on the show. And Jeannie was really strong during that moment, because we didn't see her taking breaks or anything. She was really holding it down, and she must have been really strong. But 2-3 years later, she found love, and now she is remarried to young Jeezy, the rapper, the musician, and she actually has a baby. They have a baby together. So that's really a milestone change for Jeannie Mai, who initially was reluctant about having children. Now, it's a sort of sweet moment for me, because not that I hated the show, I loved it, I enjoyed the conversations, though I did not relate to all of them. Most of them were relatable. We have the comedian Loni Love on the show, so laughter was so much. Adrienne Houghton, the jumpy Jeannie Mai, and Garcelle Bouvais, who really brought the mature, fancy, professional face to the show. I don't mean to say that the rest of the ladies are unprofessional, but when you see Garcelle, the energy around her and just what she brings around, she's calm on the show. She really tries to keep it down, hold it down, and run the show as professional as she can. I would say it's a kind of sweet moment, because it was almost getting, being on the show together for 8 seasons, you begin to get so familiar with each other. And that was what was happening, especially with Adrienne and Jeannie Mai, because they have created a deeper friendship. To the extent that in some of the episodes, actually, if you could see, some of the episodes, they would just be conversing between themselves, relating with themselves. I don't know if it's because of their younger age. We know that Jeannie Mai is now 42, almost 43, and Adrienne is 38. So their closeness in age, while well, I would say Garcelle is 55 and Loni Love is around 40 something, going towards 50. So there's no really wide age gap between them, among the four of them. But most of the time, the really familiarity between Jeannie and Adrienne would get in the way. Let me just say this. That level of familiarity would get in the way, such that you would see whatever they do, whatever they talk about is like bringing your family business to the show, and you forget that you are on a show. You forget that you're supposed to, and I don't know, I feel like it had gotten to a point where either you change the approach or just cancel the show, as they did. So why I don't want to celebrate is because when the rumors came that the show was actually ending during the 8th season, after the 8th season, Loni Love actually made sort of an appeal, or not even an appeal, but she displayed the concern of yes, we know the show is coming to an end, and she made it clear that she was okay. She wasn't going to be affected as much, but she was really concerned about the employees that were going to be affected, and she talked about 150 employees who would be affected, and the other people. For example, if Adrienne has a stylist, that stylist probably has an assistant, and so it's like if you're talking about 150, then you're somehow talking about 300 people if you double. If all of them say have assistants, have people that depend on them, it was going to affect a lot of people. And so Adrienne actually, Loni passed that concern. But can we just talk about Adrienne Bailon's attitude around that time when the rumor was actually on? Like, girl, why would you do that? So it came to a time where Adrienne was talking about how people think she really loves the press. She loves the the glam and TV, being on TV, talking on a talk show, all of that. And what was almost shocking to me was her attitude. Her attitude was like, oh, I don't care about being here. It's like, it's not a must for me. It's not I was like, girl, calm down. First of all, you're the first of the ladies in your community to get such an opportunity. So even if you are fed up, even if criticism has put you down, don't do that, because you get the opportunity to hold it down for your community. You get the opportunity to open doors for your community. Please, not to be judgmental, but Adrienne, you are aware. Maybe it was in the moment, but as Loni always tells you guys, take a beat, be calm, and think about what you're talking about, and think about what you're about to say. Even if you don't care, it's gonna affect someone. It's gonna affect you. You guys always complain that, oh, whatever you say gets taken out of context. But sometimes you guys create an unclear context. For example, when Adrienne was saying, oh, I don't live for this glam and TV and fame, and she was like, I could sit in my home and just do nothing, no makeup. Yes, that's okay, and you have the right to live your life. You have the right to take a stand. That you even have the right to be ungrateful. But I'm just saying that since you're representing millions, could you not talk like that? Could you tone down your attitude a bit? And she didn't just say that once, not twice. She really made it so clear to the rest of us that she didn't care about being on the show. And I mean, Garcelle and Loni were looking at her like, I wouldn't say that, or I wouldn't talk like that, because Loni has really is always clear about her decisions, her opinions, her feelings, and if she doesn't care, she'll say she doesn't care. If she doesn't feel like being on the show, she'll be free to say that she's tired, she's worn out, and that's not her day, she's not feeling fully herself, and that people should give her grace. But just full on telling us that you don't care, Adrienne, please. Okay, that's all with Adrienne. I mean, it's almost as if I'm picking on her, but what I'm saying is that these ladies have grown too close with each other that it's kind of no longer as representative as it should. I mean, yes, they should be close and have common opinions, but at the same time, that vibrancy of different opinions, of representing your community has died down so much. I feel like Loni is the one who is always vocal for her community, and as much as 8 years down the line, so much has happened in America when it comes to representation, so that they really don't have much to do. They still have so much to do for the Asian community, the Black community, the Latinos, and now Garcelle for the Haitian community. Well, I feel like they still have so much to do, because recently just America's Supreme Court first got the first woman. So if countries like Kenya, like Ethiopia already have their first Supreme Court judges as ladies, the head of the Supreme Court is a lady, and I mean they had RBG just before, may her soul rest in peace, before she passed on. She was a firm lady in the Supreme Court. They still have a lot to do for their communities, so Adrienne should not be talking like that. And the show coming to an end, I hope there is more opportunities and more chances to get more of such platforms. I mean, they already are there in America, and so many shows being keen and concerned on representation and just equality. But the future holds so much for the ladies. For example, Loni has been to writing her books. She's on to comedy, she's on to acting, she's on to dancing. She's actually on a show that I forgot, but it's like a comedy show that she featured just recently. So she has a lot on her hand. When it comes to Adrienne, she's on to her entrepreneurship. You know, she owns a luxury jewelry brand called XIXI, and a loungewear brand called Lavut. So she also works with her husband Adrienne Houghton, whom they make music together. They do the designing, they do trips and whatever they do. So they're busy. When it comes to Jeannie Mai, she's also recently launched a clothing brand. She has so much going on for her. She's just a new mother. And for Garcelle, it doesn't stop with Garcelle. Garcelle is an actress. She is actually a housewife in the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She's a mother of 3 boys. She's a busy mom. She just released her memoir, Love Me As I Am by Garcelle Bouvais. And so the ladies have it going on in their lives. I mean, we won't feel sorry for them, like, oh, they wouldn't be, they would go feel depressed at home with nothing to do. They are okay, they are fine. Okay, so that's with me when it comes to the Real Daytime coming to an end, and just a brief analysis. I hope you enjoyed. It's been a long one. It's almost been like a rant, because 5 years of following them, this is what it deserved. Otherwise, enjoy and bye bye.